So this just happened 2 days ago and I'm still processing. I've been dating Alex for almost a year now, and I thought I knew him pretty well. But apparently I was wrong. He's always been a bit private about his family. Whenever I'd ask about them, he'd just say they're intense and change the subject. I figured everyone has family drama, right? My own parents are divorced, so I wasn't judging. Last month, he finally said his parents wanted to meet me. I was honestly excited because we'd been together long enough that it felt like the next step. We'd talked about moving in together, meeting each other's families, the whole relationship progression thing. But then about a week before dinner, he showed up at my apartment with these papers. At first, I thought maybe it was lease documents or something. He'd been hinting about wanting to get a place together. Nope. It was an NDA. A real, actual, non-disclosure agreement with legal letterhead from his family's lawyer and everything. I started laughing because I thought it was some elaborate joke, like, who needs an NDA to meet someone's parents? Just something my parents make everyone sign, he said, trying to laugh it off. It's really not a big deal. They're just private people. I read through the whole thing. 3 pages of legal jargon basically saying I couldn't share any details about his family, their business dealings, their personal lives, their home, or anything that happened during family gatherings. The penalty for violating it was $25,000 plus legal fees. Alex, this is insane, I said. What's your family, like mafia or something? He got uncomfortable. Look, they've had some issues with privacy in the past. They just want to protect themselves. It's totally normal in their circles. I'd heard of wealthy families being paranoid about privacy, especially with social media and all that. And Alex had always been kind of vague about what his parents did for work. I knew they had money. He drove a new BMW and never seemed stressed about rent. Trust me, you'll understand after dinner, he said. Just sign it. I promise it's not as weird as it seems. So I signed it. Maybe that was stupid, but I really wanted to meet them. Plus, I figured if we were getting serious, I needed to know what I was dealing with. The dinner was set for the following Saturday at their house. Alex picked me up, and during the drive, he kept giving me these little tips. Don't mention politics, don't ask too many questions about their business. Their house was in one of those gated communities where the houses are massive and set way back from the street, the kind of place where the driveways are longer than most people's yards. Alex seemed nervous the entire drive, which made me nervous. When we got there, the formality of it all struck me immediately. We didn't just ring the doorbell, there was an intercom system. The front door was opened by someone who I later realized was their housekeeper. The whole thing felt like visiting royalty or something. His parents were waiting in the living room, perfectly dressed, perfectly groomed, sitting on this enormous white sofa like they were posing for a magazine. His dad stood up when we entered and shook my hand with this firm businessman handshake. His mom stayed seated and extended her hand for me to shake, like I was supposed to kiss her ring or something. So nice to finally meet you, she said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. We've heard so much about you. Dinner was served in their formal dining room, the kind where every piece of silverware has a specific purpose, and there are multiple glasses at each place setting. I'd grown up middle class, so this level of formality was new to me. I was already feeling out of place. Within the first 10 minutes, they started asking me really personal questions. And I don't mean the normal getting to know you stuff like, what do you do for work? Or, where did you grow up? His dad asked about my college GPA, whether I had student loans, what my parents did for a living. His mom wanted to know if I had any credit card debt, whether I'd ever been arrested, if I had any questionable social media posts. I tried to laugh some of it off. Wow, this feels like a job interview, I said. In a way, it is, his mom replied without smiling. That's when I started to realize this wasn't just dinner with the parents. This was an evaluation. The questions got more invasive. They asked about my previous relationships, how many boyfriends I'd had, why those relationships ended, whether I was still in contact with any exes. They wanted to know about my family's financial situation, whether anyone in my family had ever been arrested or had mental health issues. Then his mom made this comment that changed everything. She was asking about my living situation and mentioned something about vetting my roommates. We just need to be more careful since the incident with the last girlfriend, she said casually, like she was talking about the weather. The whole table went quiet. Alex looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. His dad shot his wife this look that clearly meant, shut up. I looked at Alex. The last girlfriend? He wouldn't meet my eyes. His mom quickly tried to change the subject, but I wasn't letting it go. What incident? I asked directly. His parents exchanged looks. Then his dad cleared his throat. Alex was previously engaged to someone who didn't work out. Emma, his mom said, and I could hear the disgust in her voice when she said the name. That girl was nothing but trouble. Alex had never mentioned an engagement. In almost a year of dating, he'd never mentioned being engaged to someone. We don't like to dwell on unpleasant experiences, his dad said. Let's focus on getting to know you better. Turns out, it was just over a year before Alex and I met. He'd been engaged to Emma for 6 months before his parents discovered she was unsuitable. She was using Alex, his mom explained. After our family, she was. She had this whole plan to marry into money and then take Alex for everything in a divorce. I looked at Alex again. He still wouldn't look at me. How do you know that was her plan? I asked. That's when they told me about the background checks. Apparently, once Alex gets serious with someone, his parents have them investigated. Really investigated. Credit checks, employment verification, social media monitoring, even talking to previous employers and landlords. We discovered Emma had been lying to Alex about almost everything, his dad said. Her job, her education, her family situation. All lies. They'd confronted Emma with this information. When she tried to sue them for invasion of privacy, they'd countersued for fraud. The whole thing had been a nightmare. That's why everyone signs the NDA now, his mom explained. We've learned our lesson about bringing outsiders into the family. There it was. I was an outsider. Not just someone Alex was dating, I was a potential threat that needed to be managed. But the worst was yet to come. His mom started asking about my family background again. When I mentioned my parents got divorced when I was in high school, she made this face like I just confessed to being a drug dealer. Divorce is so unfortunate, she said in this fake sympathetic voice. It really shows a lack of commitment to family values. We're hoping Alex will choose someone from a more stable background this time. I felt my face get hot. Alex just sat there, cutting his food like nothing had happened. His mom kept going. Children of divorce often struggle with commitment themselves. They have this idea that if things get difficult, you can just leave. That's not how we do things in our family. When I tried to explain that my parents' divorce was actually healthy, that they were much happier apart than they'd been together, his dad interrupted me. We've had enough drama from previous relationships, he said firmly. We're not interested in bringing that kind of instability into our family. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. They were basically saying that because my parents got divorced, I was damaged goods, that I couldn't be trusted to commit to a relationship. With all due respect, I said, trying to keep my voice steady, my parents' relationship has nothing to do with my relationship with Alex. His mom just smiled that cold smile again. Oh, but it does. Children repeat their parents' patterns. It's basic psychology. That's when I lost it. I told them they were being incredibly rude and invasive, that signing an NDA didn't give them permission to dissect my personal history like this, that treating me like a potential criminal was insulting and inappropriate. If you're not comfortable with our family's standards, his mom said calmly, perhaps you should reconsider this relationship. I looked at Alex, waiting for him to say something, anything, to defend me or at least acknowledge that his parents were being unreasonable. Mom, he said quietly, maybe we could... Alex, his dad cut him off sharply. We've discussed this. You know what happened last time. We're just trying to protect you. The rest of dinner was painfully awkward. They continued their interrogation, asking about my career goals, my views on children, whether I expected to work after marriage. I answered as briefly as possible, counting the minutes until we could leave. When we finally got to the car, I erupted. The drive home was brutal. I was furious that Alex hadn't defended me, hadn't warned me what I was walking into. You let them humiliate me, I told him, for almost 3 hours. You just sat there while they treated me like I was applying for some kind of certification. He kept apologizing, saying he knew they'd be difficult, but didn't think they'd go that far. He tried to explain how they'd been paranoid ever since the lawsuit with Emma, how they'd made him promise to let them vet anyone serious. You should have told me, I said, about Emma, about the investigation, about what they're really like. This wasn't just about meeting your parents. This was an ambush. That's when he admitted the truth. He'd been letting them run background checks on everyone he dated since Emma. They had some kind of private investigator they used regularly. That's how they knew so much about me before I'd even shown up. They already know everything about you, he said. Your credit score, your employment history, your social media posts, probably your roommate's parking tickets. I thought maybe if they saw how great you are in person, they'd drop the whole investigation thing. I was speechless. My boyfriend had been letting his parents spy on me for months. How can you be okay with this? I asked. He got defensive, said his parents just wanted to protect him, that after what happened with Emma, they were scared he'd get hurt again, that they weren't trying to control him, just look out for him. I asked him point blank, are you going to keep letting them control your relationships? He couldn't answer. He just kept saying they love him and they're trying to protect him, that once they get to know me better, they'll relax. But I knew better. This wasn't about protection. This was about control. And Alex couldn't even see it. We haven't talked since that night. I keep going back and forth between feeling angry and feeling sorry for him. TBH, I think he's so used to their control that he doesn't even recognize how messed up it is. Part of me wants to fight for this relationship because I really do care about Alex. But another part of me knows that if he won't stand up to them now, he never will. And I can't spend my life being scrutinized and judged by people who see me as a threat, rather than as someone who cares about their son. Was I wrong to blow up at dinner? Should I have just gone along with their interrogation? I keep thinking maybe if I'd been more diplomatic, I could have won them over. But then I remember how they talked about my parents' divorce and I get angry all over again. I don't know what to do. I thought meeting the parents was a normal relationship milestone. I never expected to need a lawyer present. Update. Thanks everyone for the wake-up call. You're absolutely right. This isn't normal family protection, it's manipulation and control. I've been reading about enmeshed families, and honestly, a lot of it fits. Alex has been conditioned to think this behavior is normal. I've decided I need to step back and really think about what I want. If Alex can't establish boundaries with his parents, then we don't have a future together. I can't be in a relationship where I'm constantly being evaluated and judged. To those asking about the legal stuff, yes, the NDA is real and binding. I've been very careful not to use real names or identifying details. My lawyer friend says this kind of extreme family vetting is becoming more common, especially among wealthy families who've been burned before. It's sad because I really thought Alex might be the one. But I'm not signing up for a lifetime of his parents' control and scrutiny. I deserve better than that. Alex called. He wants to talk, but honestly, IDK if there's anything left to say. Unless he's ready to set serious boundaries with his parents, I don't see how this works. Part of me hopes he'll finally stand up to them, but I'm not holding my breath.